Our bricks had become a slamming into each other and landing on the floor. Him on top of me. Of course he would be. It's Jessica and welcome back to Seduce Me. So today I'm going to be starting Damian's route, and it did get spoiled for me just because I did play Seduce Me 2 without any context of what's going to happen to Damien. So I do know some parts of what happens to him. Anyway, before we get started, if you guys would like to check out the game yourself, there's a link in the description where you can download Seduce Me. It is free to play. You can get it on Steam or itch.io. And please check out the creator, who is Michaela and also the voice of Diana. If you would like to check out her Patreon so she can make more games, I'll have a link to that. And also to Jonah Scott, who is the voice of Damien. I'll have a link to all his stuff as well. And if you guys would like to see the playlist for Seduce Me 1 and 2, or the episodes as well, I have a link to those so you can see the other boys. I have done all the other boys' route. Damien is the last boy. So this should be really interesting because he's the cinnamon roll of the group. Anyway, let's get started.
This game was produced by Seraphim Entertainment under the direction of Michaela Laws and is powered by Ren'Py Visual Novel Engine. We truly hope you'll enjoy this story. I know I'll enjoy it, since you'll be in it.
Alright, thanks, Eric. Okay, so just like the other routes, I'm just gonna skip over the in-between stuff and to get to Damien's route. Again, if you would like to see the full game, I highly recommend you download the game yourself, or just watch Eric's route, because he was the first one I played when I played this game. So just go over to that part of the playlist. Okay, so in this route I punched Sam just to get I'm sorry, I just punched him to get to Damien. Anyway, I woke to find myself in an unfamiliar place. Where was Mom? Dad? I was pretty sure this wasn't my room. Oh wait, I lived at my grandfather's house now. Of course it would be unfamiliar. I rubbed my eyes and surveyed my surroundings. I was still in my clothes after that I arrived in the house, but I was laying in a silk-covered bed. I remember coming in the afternoon, so why was it nighttime already? Suppressing my yawn, I stretched my arms. Maybe I should order some food for delivery? I was feeling pretty hungry. I was about to sit up, and I suddenly realized I wasn't alone.
You're awake.
Ah, damn it! Since when was he standing there? And who the heck was he? A guy in my bedroom? There's no way. Sorry, I think I was saying my thoughts out loud. Why was I apologizing to a stranger who only said 2 words since I woke up? Wait, he looked eerily familiar. Then it came all back to me. Incubus. He was an incubus. He and his brothers were here for refuge, and 2 of them kissed me, and then I fainted, and then that's how things came to this. Oh! He was leaning against the far wall, looking at me. My heart began to race as I thought of the endless list of possibilities this situation brought me. I hated the thought of being under the incubus powers, especially in my bedroom. Jump up and protect yourself. No, let's be calm to sweet Damien. I took a breath. I was sure that if any of them wanted to take advantage of me, they would have done so already. Yeah, I'm awake now.
That's good.
I saw a small form of smile on his face, which made me blush a bit. Why, though? One thing still concerned me, though.
I'm not going to use my powers on you.
How?
I can read minds. It's an ability I was born with. Each of us has a different ability, outside of our usual mind-altering powers.
I think it's interesting, out of all the boys, that Damien has the mind-reading power. Because he's so... I know Matthew takes the cute, innocent one out of the group, but I think Damien is more innocent than Matthew to begin with. Great, even more surprises. I grew even more worried about the situation I was in. I see. How long have I been asleep?
For a few hours. It's already gotten quite dark outside.
Well, where are the others?
My brothers are downstairs, cleaning up the blood from the lobby floor. And making you dinner as an apology.
Oh, okay, that's unexpectedly sweet.
Oh, it's the least we can do after invading your home, and 2 of us using our powers on you.
Yeah, Sam. You've got a point. Right, I have forgotten about that. It still irked me that they practically taken advantage of me at that point. Even if they were demons, it's pretty rude to demonstrate their powers by kissing me. I wasn't some kind of human plaything. All this seemed pretty unreal. It was like something out of those romance novels that Naomi used to read. I wish I could have just went back to sleep and forgotten all about this. Maybe I should just call the police on them. Then I would never have landed myself in this situation.
Do you feel well enough to get out of bed?
Yeah, I think so. Whoa! Ah.
Trust me, I won't let you go.
Okay, Damien. This is a little bit weird because it's a little bit random. Like, I know, Damien, all the boys mean well, of course, but, like, if we go back to, like, Mika first meeting the characters and being like, there's some random people in my house, it is a bit odd, you know what I mean? I'm not so sure about this.
I promise.
Okay. I trust you.
Good.
I was speechless. He was carrying me as if I weighed nothing. He was so strong.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's alright. I'm used to it.
I decided to close my mouth for the time being so that I wouldn't weird him out or make things more awkward than they already were. Well, he didn't seem to mind carrying me or listening to me talk, so at least things weren't too strange. Damien seemed very quiet and calm about everything, especially with the situation we were in. However, there was sort of a longing in his eyes when he looked at me that wasn't lustful. It was more in admiration? Once we reached the lobby, I decided I felt it was well enough to walk on my own. As strong as he was, it was like carrying nothing. I didn't want to make him carry me everywhere. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Thanks for carrying me, but I think I can walk by myself now. Not saying that I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it. Not in a weird way, of course. It's not like I get carried around all the time. What I'm trying to say is that it was really nice of you to do that. I started to fumble over my words again. Real smooth.
It's no problem. I'll be heading to the dining room then.
Alright, see ya! Alright, bye, Damien! He gently lowered me to the ground before walking off quietly, disappearing into the shadows of the dark lobby.
Oh, hi!
Hi, Matthew! Alright, let's come over to Damien. So after Eric and, Sam acting like idiots, I looked back at Damien, who had been silent the whole time. He was leaning against the far wall, moving his lips almost silently to the empty spaces beside him. Out of curiosity, I looked the same way, though I found nothing there.
It's nothing.
Huh? I looked back to see Damien looking back at me with his normal blank face. I couldn't help but stare back, feeling the red tint of embarrassment spreading across my face. As I stared, Damien gave me a small smile and closed his eyes, returning to his thoughts. Okay, so we made it to this part, and we're gonna help Damien in the lobby. I wonder what he's doing there. I stayed in the lobby with Damien, who nodded to me and passed me the dust cloth.
We have to dust off the railings and other surfaces before we mop the floor. Is that okay?
I nodded and rolled up my sleeves, climbing the steps of the staircase. Easy as cake. Both Damien and I began to climb to the top of the stairs, wiping the dust off the railing as we went. However, a silly idea came to mind. I looked over to Damien, wondering if he could read what I was thinking. As I expected, Damien looked over it in a slight surprise before giving me a slight concerned look.
What if you get hurt?
Oh, come on, it'll be fun. I did it all the time as a kid. Damien stared at the rail in thought. My mind began to wander back how much fun my idea was, hoping my thoughts would convince him. Damien sighed and softly began to smirking slightly and nodding. Woo! I quickened my pace on the railing, dusting off as quickly as I possibly could as I got to the top. Damien followed quickly behind me on the opposite side. We both were at the top of the stairs. We both then jumped off and sat on top of the railing and slide down like a roller coaster. I think every kid has done that. If there's like a big staircase, I've done that before. That's fun. I'm surprised I didn't hurt myself with that. There was a lot of thought on the execution, but not so much on stopping.
Watch out!
Whoa! What happened? Our brakes had become a slamming into each other and landing on the floor. Him on top of me. Of course he would be. I stared up in surprise as he looked down at me in concern. Neither of us knew what to say. I'm just gonna laugh. Awkward. I started to laugh. I didn't know why, but I couldn't control myself. I closed my eyes and started to laugh in pure enjoyment of what just happened. Damien began to laugh as well, smiling widely. Aw, that's so cute. Jonah, you have a cute laugh. Both of us ended up laughing on the floor. Damien rolled off of me and held his stomach as I held mine. We were both completely engulfed in joy.
You were right. That was fun.
See? I told you! Both of us curled into ourselves, facing each other in laughter before we looked at each other with smiles. However, Damien's face softened as his laughter slowly died. He smiled with happiness in his eyes and blush across his cheeks. I stared in surprise. My face was turning red in a turn, but my mind going blank. I couldn't stop staring at Damien's smile. Something about him was just completely charming. His eyes had a mixture of happiness and a small bit of yearning. Soon, though, Damien stood up and reached a hand down to me, breaking my silent thoughts.
Come on. We need to keep cleaning.
I slowly nodded before standing and continuing to clean alongside of him. Alright, so this is the dumb party with the father, so I'm gonna skip over this again. Alright, so the boys are training to fight Malex. Now I'm gonna go find Damien and give him lunch. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I looked down each hall, trying to find one of the incubi wandering so that I wouldn't have to go through each individual room finding them. I pursed my lips in irritation. Where the heck are they? I sighed, knowing that I would have to search for them in each room. I quickly turned my head up to the stairs. I began to walk down the hall and open a random door, peeking inside. Luckily, I found Damien in the study. Damien was in the study that I didn't recognize. There was a nice desk and a display case full of toys, books, and memorabilia. I had never entered this room before, but Damien looked like he knew this room, like in the back of his hand. Damien was gazing at a picture and books on the shelf, almost looking lost in daze. It was almost adorable, but I could sense a small hint of sadness in his eyes. Damien?
Huh? Oh, hello.
Damien turned to me and gave me a gentle smile, as if he was doing nothing as I came in. I entered the room and closed the door behind me.
I was just looking at the books. They're a very interesting topic.
We know that the father had, like, magical powers and shit. He was basically a wizard and help the boys get into the human world, so I think that's what he's looking at, all of his stuff. Huh? I looked over to the shelf and skimmed over the spines of each book. They were all books about business and psychology, all arranging in thickness. Some crossed over and brought two topics together, while others were strictly one or the other. Did my grandfather read and study all of these? These seemed to be used, but they were covered by a small layer of dust.
Do humans really study this much?
Occasionally, it depends on what we're studying.
What do you mean?
Well, if we are interested in a topic, like business, we learn what we can because we want to know more.
Are there things you can't study?
No, there are books and stuff about anything and everything.
Even the demon world?
Maybe, but usually those books are considered fiction or religious theory. It was almost cute to talk about learning with Damien. I guess learning was different in the demon world, but telling him about learning was almost like telling a child the meaning of life. I felt myself become a little wiser as we continued to talk.
Humans can learn anything?
So,
at any time?
I think, because I know Sam can't read, right? Damien is another person who can't do that, right? I think. I don't remember who it was. There's someone else too. I think it is Damien. We have libraries and bookstores full of books we can read.
Humans have the freedom to learn anything.
I looked at Damien in confusion. He seemed to look jealous. What about demons? Can't they learn what they want? Damien shook his head before looking down at his feet.
Demons don't have schools to learn from like humans do. Everything we learn comes from experience or verbal mentoring. Books are only permitted to be read by higher nobles.
That's why James is the only one who could read. I stared wide-eyed. There was no schools in the Abyssal Plains? That seems unreal, yet in a way I wasn't that surprised.
The only ones who have ever touched a book are James and Eric, since they're the oldest. Sam and Matthew chose not to read.
What about you? Damien stood in silence for a bit before sitting on the ground, leaning against a large desk in the room. I decided to follow along and sit beside him.
You brought food?
Huh? Oh, yeah, I brought food here.
Thank you.
Aw, he's so cute! Damien took the dish of food and began to politely eat. I followed suit. It was painfully obvious that he was dodging my question. Did I want to know? I was very curious. I mean, I don't want to, push Damien to tell me, but I am curious about his backstory because I know his is the worst one out of everybody. He is a complicated one because he's the bastard child of the Demon Lord, and I'm vaguely aware that his backstory, he wasn't treated well, nor was his mother, so... Oh god, I need to save, just in case I fuck up. I was curious, so I had to ask. However, Damien looked to me, stopping me from opening my mouth.
Because I'm, technically, not a noble at all.
I tilted my head and raised an eyebrow in confusion. Not a noble? But aren't you all brothers? If the others are noble, that would make you one. Damien looked to his dish with a sigh. I suddenly felt regret for asking and pushing the topic. Before I could apologize, Damien spoke.
We are all half-brothers. We only share the same father. Our mothers are all different. James, Eric, Sam, and Matthew all had noble mothers who are now queens. My mother was not a noble, and is not a queen.
Oh, poor baby. I could see the sadness in Damien's eyes. I bit my lips. I shouldn't have pushed the issue. I'm sorry. Damien shook his head, snapping out of his thoughts, and smiled to me.
For what? You didn't know, and were curious. It was only appropriate to answer.
You didn't have to, you sweet child! You didn't need to tell me anything! Still, it was rude of me to pry like that. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. Damien only smiled lightly at me before continuing to eat. As he ate, my mind began to wander at the Bristol Plains. What was it like? What did it look like? Was their castle big? How many servants did they have? My thoughts were halted by Damien's chuckling. Most likely at my thoughts. I turned red in embarrassment. Sorry.
You keep saying sorry when you don't need to. It's kind of cute.
Ah, he's cute. Stop it, Damien. I pursed my lips, but I couldn't stop a blush running across my face. I went back to eating, earning another chuckle from Damien. However, as a groan of pain escaped Damien's lip, I stopped to look at him in surprise. Damien, are you okay?
Yeah. It's nothing.
What the hell? What
Don't
happened to
worry
him?
About it.
I heard him gulp down and hide another groan, making me even more concerned than before. Damien.
It's just a headache. I get it when I run out
Oh, right.
energy. I'll be fine.
Oh, yes, I forgot about this. He was out of energy? I guess he didn't take enough when we first met, so it was just enough to heal his wounds.
None of us took more than we needed to heal.
From the sound of his voice, he was fighting back major pain. I felt incredibly bad. Damien smiled very lightly at me.
I'll be fine.
No! You take my energy! You fucking cinnamon roll! If he needed energy, I was willing to give it. Damien instantly turned away from me before I could finish my sentence.
No. I'll be fine. I'm used to this.
No! Oh, man, I can totally tell he's been abused, you know what I mean? Fuck. Used to it? Used to pain? There's no way that was okay. I glared at Damien's back before grabbing his shoulder and forcing him around. Damien stared at me wide-eyed in surprise. Damien, let me help you, please. I don't want to see you in pain like this. I continued to... Alright, the police siren is going off outside. I continued to stare at him, wondering if he would make the first move. I wanted to help him, truly. I knew that my energy would help him not feel any pain. Damien must have heard my thoughts, as his gaze changes from nervous to piercing. All of a sudden, I felt that familiar feeling of warmth run through my body once again. I felt my body slightly heat up as Damien wrapped an arm around my body and pulled my body tightly to his. Damien grew lustful gaze before speaking, bringing a hand cupped the back of my neck. Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Alright. Okay, you know, if I'm being... I know Michaela said when she was developing Seduce Me 2, she didn't want, like, each route to be completely the same, because essentially that's how it was written for the first game, and I don't fault her for that, because, like, you know, it's, like, her first major game. So I understand that part. But I feel like out of all the boys, Damien wouldn't kiss Mika when they first met. I just feel like he's that kind of person, you know what I mean? The kind of energy he would probably get from her is, like, a hug. Or something like that, because he's too, I don't want to say shy, but just from how he reacted by telling her about his backstory, I feel like that's the reason why he's like that, you know? All in all, he's still fucking adorable, like I can't even. Before I knew it, Damien pulled me into a gentle but passionate kiss. Heat erupted through my body as his kiss slowly and almost timidly got deeper. Damien kept an arm around my waist, while I rested my hands on his chest. The energy from my body was slowly draining from the kiss, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and willing I was in this situation. Still, I had no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. Damien was a wild card. I really didn't know what to expect from him, and his kiss was no exception. Damien wasn't forceful, but his kiss was deep and passionate, and it felt almost magical. It was how I imagined the first kiss to be like, except with the energy draining. Soon, though, the energy drain stopped, and Damien gently pulled his face away to end the kiss. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I've never kissed like that before. Girl, you never kissed anyone but Sam before. And I was lost in the moment that I had forgotten how to breathe. Damien moved a strand of hair from my face to behind my ear, eyes still full of desire.
I'm okay now. But...
You want more, Damien, huh? You want more? I could feel the hold of his mind alternating spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give any more. Fuck it, let's keep going. I opened the opportunity and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was going to let him keep going. I wanted to keep going. I leaned up and kissed him again. Damien gasped against my lips, but continued to kiss back. I could feel him pull the tail of my bow, releasing it and following his hand off around my neck. He removed the ribbon and put it in his pocket before gently unbuttoning the top 2 buttons of my blouse. The desire of my body drove me insane, forcing Almonas to escape my lips as he ran his kisses from my lips down to my exposed neck. As he began to ravish my neck and my shoulders in hot kisses, I leaned my head back and let a pleasurable sigh escape from my lips. Damien was ruthless in his passionate kisses on my skin. Damien didn't stop touching and kissing me, making more moans and gasps rush out of my mouth into the open air. He must have been full because he was as hot as I was. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was lost in the pleasure and I didn't care. Call it sin, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything in that moment, even as he lowered his kisses down to my chest above my bra. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about Damien intrigued me immensely, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate to be lust. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the ceiling start to spin almost wildly. I gripped onto Damien's shoulders, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded into black before I could let out another sound. And we fainted.
Thank you. I indulged myself, but I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Damien.
Damien's so cute. I like how he signs his name. Oh my god. What a freaking adorable dork. Oh my goodness. I don't think the other boys did that, right? They didn't write their name at the bottom. Damien. What a fucking dork. I love him. He's cute. I stared at the note, letting a small smile grace my lips. He indulged himself as much as I did. I enjoyed it. It was cute, though, to imagine him thanking me for something we both enjoyed. I brought the note to my chest, letting the memories of our meeting flood my mind. I indulged myself too, Damien. Oh my god, he's so cute.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Damien. I want you to know my real name, if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Damien gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Ezrol.
Okay, Ezra. I need to remember everybody's name. Like, I kind of forgot everybody because it's been so long since I played Seduce Me. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure that I would never forget it. Damien pulled away and stared at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise, I'll come and help you.
I stared up at Damien, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Damien smiled before releasing my hand and heading to the dinner room. Something told me that name would be useful eventually. Alright, so Malex, the bitch, finally shows up, and we're gonna call Damien over to save us. All of a sudden, a purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me to cover themselves.
What the?
A gust of wind rushed past me, forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself to stand my ground. I tried to peek through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. As the gust of wind slowly started to die, the light began to fade, revealing Damien with a blank expression, staring coldly at Malex. Damien!
I'm here, as I promised.
Yay! Oh, Malex moved his arms from his face and slowly took in the new side of it in front of him. Quickly, Malex's face turned of that of pure evil delight.
Out of the 5 pretty boys, you summoned the pathetic one? What a fucking moron!
Fuck you, Malex! Wow! Damien stared at Malex, silent and fiercely cold. Damien began to walk up towards Malex, one step at a time. Malex, however, brought up his gun, pointing it at Damien.
So long, pretty boy!
Malex pulled the trigger and let the bullet fly straight toward Damien's head. I gasped, bracing myself for the result of the shot. Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit, what did he do, though? However, Damien kept walking. Damien didn't fly back, nor did he flinch from the shot. I could see the bullet wound, but I knew that there had to be one in Damien's face.
What the?
Wait, did it pass
Fucking
through
die!
him? What? Malex began to quickly pepper shots into Damien's face, some of them passing completely through his head. Ooh, shit! There was no blood, no fire, nothing. It was as if Damien never really existed. He walked towards the now frightened devil.
What crap spell is this?
Now Damien finally reached Malex. The devil's jabs Damien's head towards the ground, making Damien's body fall in silence to the concrete. As the body settled onto the ground, it slowly began to burn away in purple flames. Malex gritted his teeth.
Distraction. Where are you,
Wait!
Damien?
Does he have shadow magic or something? Malex scanned the room like a hungry dog hunting for its final meal. Malex began to glow a fiery red color in anger from the situation. The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do. Help Malex or watch in silence. Iris, however, walked beside me and crossed her arms as she watched with an amused smirk on her face.
Come out!
There instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described as a tone of color of red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and black, as everything began to blend together all at once. Damien's voice finally replied. However, his voice seemed different.
What's wrong, Malex? Are you afraid of me now?
I like this. Damien is like the creepiest voice, but it's so badass. Holy shit. I was suddenly afraid. Something about Damien didn't fit right in how I knew him. He sounded otherworldly. His voice was dripping with an almost sadistic tone, and as he spoke through the air.
Afraid of a pretty boy like you. You don't even have the balls to face me head on. You're the one who's afraid.
Looking to Malex, however, I could tell that he was off. Something about what Damien was doing was keeping Malex in his place.
Oh, I'm not afraid of you. In fact, I know very well you're afraid to move right now. You are practically screaming it in your mind.
That's right, bitch, you can read your mind. Malex, in a fit of rage, began to shoot in the air, letting the bullets fly into the ceiling.
Shut the hell up!
Damien's demonic laughter filled the room as a group of dark figures appeared around Malex, walking towards him slowly, menacingly. In defense, Malex shot fires at each entity around him, causing them to fall and fade away into purple flames. However, that didn't stop them from appearing around him and closed in on him. Malex became frantic. Was this the extent of demon power? I suddenly felt a pair of hands that covered my eyes tightly, pulling me against someone's chest. I gasped, but I saw it from prying their hands off my face.
It's me.
Oh shit, it's Sam! Wow, okay. I didn't expect Sam to be in this one. I listened carefully, but let the last two words linger in my mind. Don't look. What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me to obey Sam's command. I could hear Malex's scream of agony of the sounds that rippled the flesh. The smell of blood was covered in a harsh odor and the ash of fire. Maybe it was better I wasn't able to see.
Damien! Enough!
My heart fluttered a bit as Damien walked closer to me. He was happy, and it was really cute to see him that way, so I didn't do anything but smile back.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Damien. I'm happy to have you stay here. I watched his smile brighten a bit before he cleared his throat and looked up at me with a serious face. I didn't know if it was tiredness or my growing attachment to him, but I felt myself sway a bit on my feet. However, Damien's face made it clear that he wanted to say something else, making me forget that my bed was calling for me.
Listen, about what happened at the warehouse.
No, it's fine. You did what you had to do. I understand. I had to accept everything that happened, and I knew that Damien had to do what he had to do. He was real, and he was someone I didn't want to be without, even if it meant nodding against my curiosity, because I was too tired to explore that memory further. Damien nodded before holding out a hand to me.
Come on. Let's get you to bed.
You gonna join me, Damien? Join me, Damien! I nodded before Damien gently lifted me up in his arms like a bride and carried me to my room. I didn't want to leave his arms, leaning my head against Damien's chest, but eventually I was slowly lowered onto the bed and covered with my bed covers. I was still in my school clothes, but I was too tired to strip or care. I looked at Damien, finding a yawn from escaping me, as he shyly ran a hand over my hair.
Good night. I'll make breakfast for you in the morning.
Aww. I nodded with a tired smile before watching him slowly stand and leave my room, closing the door. A wave of happiness washed over me as I laid in bed. I made a good choice. Sure, it was hard, but I could tell that I would be able to manage it. Help around the house and being with the man whom I slowly started to fall for would be worth it. I slowly felt my exhaustion take over. I let sleep consume me as I drifted in the darkness of my mind. Everything was peaceful. I was happy. Hi, Diana! Alright, so Diana being a bitch and everything, we get that. Anyway, Damien walked over to me and stood before me, looking at me with concern.
We'll protect you. Don't worry.
I nodded, feeling that there was truth in it, or at least a hopeful and comforting thought. Damien gently grabbed my hand. Damien gently took my hand in his and brought it up to kiss my knuckles, however, making me blush and forgetting that what I was thinking about. The sound of collected chuckles and playful snickers whispered through the air, making me blush even more, but as Damien sighed to clear his throat, the laughter stopped. I looked up to see him. He was glaring at his brothers with his lips on my hat. He and I pulled away from each other, just as the sound of Naomi's card appeared. I quickly ate my food, waved at the boys, and left, confident that nothing was going to happen, until Diana shows up and ruins everything. Okay, so now Damien showed what happened in the past, how they escaped the demon world and came to the human world, everything about the Dick Father. Now Damien's going to show his perspective of the Abyssal Plains. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Damien, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing him slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. How do you feel?
He's so cute. Better, because you're here. Damien nodded before looking down at the bed, taking my hand into his.
I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
Damien, it's not your fault.
No, it is. I was the one who wanted to come to the human world. I convinced the others to come with. If I never did that, we'd never have put you in danger like this.
I quickly reached over and put a finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear any more. Damien, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Damien's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault, and it, kind of wasn't her fault either. She was desperate enough to hunt them down. One thing bothered me, though. Why did his dad scorn him? Why did Damien want to run away? The others seemed a little obvious, but Damien was a mystery. However, before I could be vocally curious, Damien gently held my head in his hands. Damien? Damien frowned and simply held me.
I'll show you everything.
Oh God. Damien let out a small laugh, and a hint of depression lingered in his breath as he let out, before he focused his energy into my head. My vision blurred, and suddenly I was back in the demon castle. I expected to see Damien wandering around the halls, or with his brothers. However, I found him alone, sitting on the foot of the throne, tearfully coiled up into a ball. The room sweat the blood, but my eyes couldn't take away from the tearful Damien. Damien? I knew that he couldn't hear me, but I instantly called out to him. He looked lonely. Where were his brothers?
Why are you crying?
What? Damien picked up his head. Suddenly, so did I. Grandfather? What? Whoa, the grandfather talked to Damien first?
Who are you? What do you want?
I just want to know if you're okay.
Who are you?
Don't be afraid. I'm just a friend.
Yo, grandfather the wizard!
Friend?
I stared, completely in shock. When did my grandfather knew them? Everything started going in fast forward. I saw Damien talking to the voice of my grandfather, seeing his sad face go from happy to surprised to fascinated, and a cycle randomly. There were even moments when Matthew joined him, letting Damien speak for the voice in the air. It was unbelievable. Here, my grandfather spoke of the human world, painting a beautiful world full of opportunity. How did my grandfather know all of this? What was going on? My mind slowly spun at the idea that my grandfather delved into magic and demons. Eventually, the world around me slowed down to see the boys standing before the empty throne. They looked determined, sought, and ready for something to happen. Damien stepped forward and held his hand out to the throne.
O tenebris portas, apiri ad nobis, laudetur exitum, desiderium.
My grandfather started to chant a phrase unfamiliar to me, letting it rupture in the air around the boys. Gusts of wind started to brush through the room like a storm rushing in. I watched, however, as a small tear opened in the air in front of the throne. It glowed an unholy purple color, peeking into the familiar pink cafe. Oh, no. Wait, that's... Quickly, Sam rushed over and drove his hand through the tear, pulling it open and making it large enough to reveal the Pink Lady Cafe with my grandfather on the other side. My grandfather held out his hand, ushering the boys to come.
Hurry up, boys! I can't hold it open for long!
What the fuck? Instantly, the boys ran through the tear, climbing through and almost crashing onto the tables and chairs of the cafe. I felt myself move through as well, joining them as my grandfather closed the portal. The boys looked around at the space and almost mystified in the sight. My grandfather laughed and out of breath before sitting down by the nearby tables.
There now. Welcome to the human world, boys. Let's see. Kay, make us some coffee, please. These boys need a drink.
Oh, so is Kay... Is Kay like a demon or something? Like, I knew she wasn't human. Like, there's something different about her. But is she a demon or is she like an angel or something? I turned to see Kay, the owner of the cafe and the only person in the room besides the boys. Smiling, quickly get to work on making coffees. I was dumbfounded. She knew about them? I felt myself getting dizzy at the thought, but I shook my head out of it and tried to focus on what was going on. My grandfather looked at the boys up and down before chuckling again. The boys must have still been speechless.
You'll need a spell to cover yourselves up. Humans don't exactly have horns or parade around naked.
I mean, in some places they do, but we're not going to get into that. The boys looked to each other before collectively nodding and focusing their energies. Before my eyes, they went from demons to human-looking demons, but they looked to each other ecstatic at their new looks. My grandfather, however, cleared his throat and brought the attention back to him.
Now, don't be rude to Kay now. Sit and enjoy some coffee. It's the best in town.
How would they know? They haven't tried any other coffees. The voice obeyed, obviously in his debt. I looked at Damien's face as he was almost in tears of joy. I could tell that he was happy to be in the human world. I almost felt like crying for him, but I couldn't understand why. Maybe it was his facial expression, or maybe it was because I would meet him soon after this fact. Eventually, Damien stopped the magic, lowering his hands and letting me come back into reality. I held on to Damien, who kept a hold of me to make sure I didn't faint. Everything felt so wrong, and yet it made sense all at the same time. My grandfather knew magic? My grandfather helped the boys. He cast a spell on the mansion and to help protect me.
I was the one who convinced everyone to come to the human world. I was also the one who asked that man, your grandfather, to bring us.
That's probably why they know where the mansion is, right? Like, they didn't stumble upon it randomly, like, oh, we'll just go into this house, it's empty. I'm pretty sure they knew that's where their grandfather lived. That makes a lot of sense. So, he helped you come through? What happened after?
He gave us a wallet full of fake IDs and maps of the world. He told us to go anywhere we wanted and that he would pay for everything so we wouldn't have to use our magic. It was like he made us human.
Aww, that's so nice of the grandfather, but he kind of fucked over Diana. Damien laughed nostalgically. I could tell that he was happy remembering how my grandfather helped. I still couldn't wrap my head around it, but the answers I wanted were 6 feet under and unreachable now. You really wanted to be human? Damien looked at me, his eyes glittering both in hope and shame.
More than anything, I still want to be human. I don't mean just in looks. Everything.
Damien looked at his hands, lowering them onto the bed between us.
Humans don't read minds. Humans don't hurt people like demons do. I didn't ask to be a demon. I want to learn things, go places.
No, Damien!
And not have to be bound by magic or anything.
He needs a hug. This is not fair. Because, again, I can already tell his backstory is really bad. I stared. It was pitiful to see him like this. He almost looked like a child, begging me for something that he really wanted. I wanted to help somehow. I just didn't know how.
It's all right.
Damien?
You've already done so much for me and my brothers. Sheltering us. Letting us continue to live here.
Damien frowned, though gently caressing my cheek with his hand.
I don't want you to get hurt because of us.
Damien lowered his head in shame. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Damien let out a small sigh before looking to me with a new smile. He hid his sadness well, but I could tell that he was still upset about the whole ordeal.
All right. You should sleep.
No, Damien! Damien gently pressed me back onto the bed, resolved in what had happened. Let's kiss him, because he needs one. I couldn't let myself leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Damien down and lifted my head and gently kissed him, softly laying my hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Damien stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of her lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face with a simple gesture. He let out a satisfied sigh before nuzzling my forehead.
Go to sleep.
Okay. And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing to the mattress.
How pathetically sweet.
Hi, Diana! Hey guys, it's future Jess, or Jess in the editing room. So when I was recording this, I didn't realize I was recording for like 2 hours. I meant to stop, like, near the half-an-hour mark, because I didn't realize how long Damien's route was. I didn't know it was going to take that long. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Seduce Me, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to join the companions. And if you would like to support me on Patreon, you can go to the link in the description where you can check out my Patreon. It starts slow at like $1 a month, so if you want to pledge that, and you get a bunch of rewards. Also, you get extra Let's Plays and videos out in advance before they go out on my YouTube channel. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye! He didn't stare at me. His face is close to mine. Close enough to kiss? Okay. Close enough to what exactly? You said, do you trust me to protect you? That's not the point. I need to be able to protect myself. Because you're planning on investigating the witches on your own? No, I want to be able to protect myself because I do not want